For over a decade, One Piece fans have repeated the same comforting lie to themselves: the Thousand Sunny will never change. It's perfect the way it is, but Oda has just spent the entire Elbaf arc quietly proving that statement wrong, one detail at a time. Think about it. Why would Eiichiro Oda, a man who plans his foreshadowing decades in advance, send the Straw Hats to the exact island where the wood of their own ship was born, introduce the legendary tree that grew it, hand Franky a brand new power source unlike anything he's ever used, and then do nothing with it? He wouldn't. He never does. Somewhere between a giant tree older than the world government itself, a power-up that puts Franky on par with a pacifista, and a sacred wood that once carried the only ship to ever reach Laugh Tale. Oda has been assembling pieces of a puzzle most fans glanced right past. And when you put those pieces together, they point to something massive: the Thousand Sunny. The ship that has carried Luffy's crew since Water 7 is about to undergo a transformation big enough to change how the Straw Hats fight the final war. So is the Sunny getting destroyed? No, is something even bigger happening to it? Almost certainly. And by the end of this video, you're going to understand exactly why Elbaf was always going to be the place where Franky's true dream finally comes alive. Let's start with what every fan already knows, because the foundation here matters more than people realize. The Thousand Sunny was born out of grief. After the Going Merry literally fell apart beneath the Straw Hats during the Enies Lobby escape, sacrificing the last of its strength to save the crew, Franky felt responsible. He had stolen money from the Straw Hats back in Water 7, money that could have gone toward repairing the Merry. So when the time came to build a new ship, Franky used that same stolen fortune, 200 million berries, to buy a single piece of lumber from a tree he called Treasure. Tree Atom, sourced from a country he described only as a land of never-ending war. That would become the Thousand Sunny, a brigantine almost twice the size of the Merry, packed with 16 cannons, a soldier dock system, a lawn, an aquarium bar, and the now iconic Coup de Burst, a cannon that fires backward to launch the entire ship into the sky for emergency escapes. Here's the detail most fans forget. Though, Franky didn't just pick any wood. He specifically wanted atom wood because of one fact he revealed in chapter 431. All the way back in the Water 7 saga, the only other ship ever constructed from this material was the Oro Jackson, the vessel that carried Galdi, Roger and his crew to the literal end of the Grand Line. To Franky, building the Sunny out of atom wood wasn't a stylistic choice. It was a statement of intent. He was building a second Oro Jackson, a ship he believed could survive the journey to Laugh Tale. For years, the country that produced this wood remained a mystery. Fans speculated, debated, and pieced together hints from old chapters. But that's where things start getting strange. Chapter 1131 confirmed something fans had suspected since Chapter 866 first showed a massive tree silhouette towering over Elbaf. The land of never-ending war that Franky described was Elbaf itself. The treasure tree Atom wasn't just some random tree on the black market. It was the literal heart of the giant's homeland, the oldest atom tree in the entire world. By at least 3,000 years older than any other known specimen, that single reveal rewrote the meaning of the Thousand Sunny's entire backstory. The Straw Hats ship wasn't built from generic, strong wood. It was built from a sliver of the most ancient, most sacred tree in the One Piece universe, smuggled out through the black market at a price that, in hindsight, was almost insultingly cheap for what it actually was. And Oda didn't stop there. Loki, the chained sun god prince of Elbaf, refers to the tree by a different name entirely: the Jewel Tree. Atom, not the strong tree, not the war tree, the Jewel Tree, a name that implies value beyond just material strength, something closer to sacred, almost mythic in nature. Then comes the detail that connects everything together. Usopp, of all people, made the connection years earlier in chapter 612, comparing Treasure Tree Atom to a second legendary tree called Sunlight Tree Eve, the tree believed to be tied to the origin of devil fruits themselves. Two named, almost biblical trees, sitting at opposite ends of foreshadowing that spans over 600 chapters. Adam and Eve. Oda doesn't choose names like that by accident, and this is where Oda may have left his biggest clue. Here's where the evidence stops being background lore and starts becoming a roadmap. Chapter 1138 reveals that Franky discovers an ancient mural while exploring Elbaf with Ripley. one that ties treasure tree atom to deep historical weight connected to Elbaf's past. This isn't random world building. Oda is building toward a moment, and every Straw Hat dream in this story gets its emotional payoff through a callback, never through coincidence. Remember what Franky's actual dream is. Not just build a strong ship. His dream, stated plainly back in chapter 431, is to build a vessel capable of circumnavigating the entire globe and reaching Laugh-Tale, all in honor of his mentor Tom, the shipwright who built the Oro Jackson and who Franky has spent his entire life trying to live up to. Now look at where the story currently has him standing. Franky is physically present at the source of the wood his own ship is made from in the final saga, right as the war for the One Piece is about to begin. The Sunny has survived everything the Grand Line has thrown at it for years, but Oda has spent this entire arc reminding readers, again and again, that the ship is not invincible. It's wood. It can burn. It can be damaged by something powerful enough. So here's the logical chain. Franky needs his ship at its absolute strongest before the final war. The purest, most powerful atom wood in the entire world is growing in the exact location he's standing in right now. And Oda has spent 600 chapters building the emotional and narrative justification for Franky to finally get his hands on it. But here's the detail nobody talks about. In chapter 1176, Franky gets the first real power-up he's received in years, and it doesn't come from Vegapunk's old tech at Egghead, where everyone expected it. It comes from Lilith, the last surviving Vegapunk satellite, who follows Franky to Elbaf and hands him something called Super Vega-Cola, a radically more powerful fuel source, compared to the plain cola Franky has run on since Water 7. Here's why this matters. More than it looks. Franky isn't just a cyborg. He's a machine built around cola as both his personal fuel and the literal power source behind the Sunny's cannons and Coup de Burst. Lilith doesn't just upgrade Franky's body. She upgrades the exact resource that determines how powerful both Franky and the ship he built can become, and this changes everything. Because now you have 3 separate threads converging on the same island, at the same time, around the same person. The purest atom wood in existence, sourced from the very tree the Sunny was originally built from. A brand new, far more powerful fuel source that directly powers the ship's weapons. And a shipwright standing at the intersection of both in the literal final stretch of the story, with no narrative reason left to delay his arc any further. Suddenly, a completely different picture emerges. This was never going to be the arc where Usopp's dream came true, even though most fans expected exactly that going into Elbaf. It was always building toward Franky, the land of giants, the land of warriors. The land that fans assumed existed for Usopp's growth has actually been Franky's destination since chapter 431, a full 1,000 chapters before the Elbaf arc even started. So what does an upgraded Thousand Sunny actually mean heading into the endgame? Think about what's coming. The final saga isn't just building toward Laugh-Tale, it's building toward a war involving the 5 elders, Aimu, the surviving emperors, the black-bearded pirates, and the Knights of God, who are actively mobilizing to annex Elbaf for the world government as we speak. The Straw Hats are not sailing into some quiet final island. They're sailing directly into the most dangerous waters the series has ever depicted. Against enemies who have already proven capable of leveling entire nations, a ship that can merely survive isn't enough anymore. The Sunny needs to be able to fight if Franky reinforces the hull with the purest atom wood Elbaf has to offer, and powers its arsenal with a cola source potent enough to put him on par with a pacifista. The Thousand Sunny stops being a transport vessel with weapons attached. It becomes something closer to what the Oro Jackson once was. A ship built specifically to survive a journey no other vessel could, and there's a deeper layer here that ties directly into Joy Boy and the Void Century. If the Atom Tree's roots, as some theories suggest, stretch in connection across the Grand Line, and if its wood carried the only ship to ever complete the journey to the final island during the Roger era, then upgrading the Sunny with Elbaf's purest atom wood isn't just a power boost. It's the story closing a circle that started 600 chapters ago. Putting Luffy's crew on a ship built from the same sacred material that once carried the only other man to ever see the One Piece. This is bigger than a ship getting stronger cannons. This is Oda preparing the literal vessel of the story's ending. So let's connect every piece, because once you see the full picture, It's hard to imagine Oda planned it any other way. The Sunny was built from Elbaf's atom wood without anyone in the story even knowing where that wood came from. Decades of in-universe time and over 1,000 chapters later, the Straw Hats arrive at that exact source on a mission to survive the most dangerous war in the series. The shipwright who built the Sunny in honor of his mentor's lost masterpiece is standing in the one location capable of completing his unfinished work. And the same arc that finally reveals the truth behind Treasure Tree Atom also hands that shipwright the most powerful fuel source he's ever held. None of this reads like coincidence. It reads like a payoff Oda has been quietly writing since before most viewers were even watching the anime. How did fans never notice this before? Because Oda buried it in a throwaway backstory chapter over a decade ago, then waited until the absolute final stretch of the story to bring it back. Exactly when the emotional and narrative stakes would hit the hardest, the Sunny isn't being replaced. It's being completed. If this theory turns out to be true, the 1,000 Sunny could become one of the most important weapons in the entire final war. Not just a ship the Straw Hats happen to sail on. But what do you think? Did Oda really plan this connection between Water 7 and Elbaf from the very beginning, or is this just a happy coincidence the fandom is reading too much into? Let me know in the comments.